The wind cut through the jagged peaks like a blade. Snow swirled around boots that trudged wearily through the rocky terrain. Every step was a battle against the mountain itself, and in the midst of it, a tiny figure appeared, Sergeant Kara Vance, barely 5'2". Her uniform dusted with frost and sweat, shoulders straining under the weight of a wounded seal. The men watching paused, disbelief freezing their words midair. How could someone so small carry what seemed impossible? Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you re-watching from. I love knowing who's listening. Kara had spotted the injured seal hours earlier. A mortar strike had pinned him under debris, his leg mangled, his body crumpled against the jagged rocks. The extraction team was delayed, cut off by enemy positions and worsening weather. Every second counted. Every heartbeat was measured against the mountain's merciless cold. The other soldiers hesitated. They knew the protocol. Wait for backup. Avoid risking another life. But Kara's gaze never wavered. Inside, she wrestled with fear, not for herself, but for the man she had trained with, laughed with, shared victories and losses with. She thought she'd never face a mountain this unforgiving. She was wrong. Her hands gripped him under the arms. Muscles screamed in protest. Breath hitched. Every fiber of her being demanded surrender. Yet every ounce of discipline, every lesson learned in the toughest boot camps and battlefield trials, told her to push forward. One step, then another. The soldiers around her whispered, unsure whether to intervene or let the impossible unfold. She's going to burn herself out, one muttered. Another shook his head, eyes wide. The mountains roared, the wind, the crunch of snow beneath boots, the distant echoes of artillery made the moment surreal, almost cinematic. Kara moved with methodical precision, adjusting her hold, shifting weight, balancing strength and patience in a rhythm only a seasoned soldier could master. Hours passed. Every slope felt steeper than the last. Every gust of wind a punishment. Sweat and snow mingled, soaking her gloves, freezing against her skin. Yet she never faltered. The injured seal's groans were faint, his trust absolute, as if he sensed the quiet storm carrying him across perilous terrain. Moments of doubt struck her mind. Could she make it? Was she foolish to attempt this alone? Protocol screamed in her ears. Risking her life could compromise the mission. But in the space between fear and choice, a singular clarity emerged. Some risks were worth taking. Some lives were too precious to leave behind. By midday, the team below could finally see her. A lone figure threading through the peaks, muscles taut, eyes fixed on the horizon. Whispers turned to awe, eyes wide with disbelief. She's doing it, someone breathed. The impossibility of the act sank in. The morale of the unit, battered by fatigue and fear, surged at the sight of one determined soldier defying all odds. The climb grew treacherous. Ice patches threatened to unseat her, and jagged rocks cut through gloves and knees. Yet she adjusted, balancing instinct with training, timing every step to avoid collapse. Her heartbeat became a mantra. Steady, steady, steady. She thought of the SEALs family, of the camaraderie shared in distant deserts and sweltering jungles, and each thought pushed her further. Enemy fire had been sporadic, but still they lurked shadowed figures among crags. One well-placed sniper could end the mission, end her. Yet she moved with a precision that blurred fear into focus. Every movement calculated. Every breath a rhythm of life and survival. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the slope eased. Below, the extraction zone waited, helicopters idling, ready for the injured SEAL. Relief threatened to break her focus, but she kept moving. One last push. One last step. The SEAL, barely conscious, felt the warmth and determination radiating from Kara. You're insane," he whispered, a smile breaking through the pain. Kara only nodded, muscles trembling, but resolve unbroken. She lowered him to the waiting medics, careful, precise, exhausted, but victorious. The murmurs of the soldiers watching turned to applause, claps echoing across the mountains. Some cheered quietly, humbled by the quiet heroism displayed. No words could capture the enormity of what had just happened. One soldier, tearing up, muttered, "I've never seen anything like it. She carried him, all of him, 8 miles. Kara exhaled slowly, letting herself finally feel the fatigue she had suppressed. The seal was safe. Lives had been saved. And the impossible had been made real by determination, courage, and unwavering loyalty. The moral weight lingered in the air. When rules and protocol demand waiting, when fear urges hesitation, sometimes humanity calls for audacity. Sometimes courage is measured not in orders followed, but in lives saved. The seal she had carried finally looked at her eyes filled with gratitude. "I owe you everything," he said, voice trembling. Kara only smiled faintly. "You would have done the same," she replied. "We don't leave each other behind, because true strength isn't always about size, firepower, or rank. Sometimes it's measured in grit, endurance, and the willingness to stand when all hope seems lost. Sometimes it's measured in the quiet determination of a soldier who refuses to quit, even when the world tells her it's impossible, because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back." As the sun dipped behind the jagged peaks, casting long shadows over the mountains, Kara finally allowed herself to lean against the rocks, watching the extraction take the seal to safety. She realized something profound. No act of courage is ever truly small. Even a tiny soldier can carry the weight of the world. If this story inspired you, share your thoughts below and subscribe to Whispered Words for more cinematic, emotionally powerful military stories of bravery, endurance, and humanity.